Hey everyone, it's Colin. It's that time of year again, and yes, I'm talking about Christmas. So in order to get into the spirit, I want to just play some games. But the thing is, there's not a lot of games that take place during Christmas. But there was one that immediately came to my mind, and that's the one we're going to be looking at in particular today, and commonly referred to as the most underrated game of its franchise. Yes, I'm talking about Batman Arkham Origins, the middle child oddball of Rocksteady's beloved Batman Arkham series. And this game was made by a different developer, WB Montreal. Now first things first, this Arkham game takes place way before any of the others. 12 years before the first outing, Batman Arkham Asylum. So here we have a Batman that's been at it a little bit over a year and a half now, and he's still filled with anger and rage, just putting that much more effort to every punch he throws. Still with extreme skill and refined talent, but this time he's got a lot more armor he's sporting, because he is wearing a whole lot of pads. This night starts with a riot in Blackgate Prison, which leads to some crazy events, including a fight with Killer Croc. Although with Mr. Croc here, we've learned that Black Mask has put a bounty on Batman's head, and that bounty is $50 million. So basically a bunch of assassins come and harass us while we're trying to get to Black Mask. So after we beat up a couple of assassins, we head over to a crime scene and we learn that Black Mask is dead. Oh, just kidding, it's someone he hired. Seems like Penguin did all the killing here until Batman finds out that it was actually some other mysterious figure. And it turns out our Black Mask isn't exactly who we think it is. Big spoiler here, although it is a 12-year-old game, so if you somehow haven't heard of this beforehand, I'm more impressed by that. Turns out Joker is responsible for all these killings, and he is impersonating Black Mask currently. So, another game about the Joker. You gotta be fucking kidding me again? He's in every goddamn one of these fucking games. Oh my god. But once this is revealed, Batman has to run up to a fight on a tower with none other than Mr. Bane himself. You also do a lot of Joker's random ass shenanigans throughout this hotel. Then you save him from dying to a fall, which leaves Joker very confused and which makes him start obsessing over you, and now he can't get enough of Batman, and now he has some weird fantasy or something around this guy. So that's the whole thing. He saved him. Joker's taken in the Blackgate to be held captive, which doesn't last for long. He in fact takes over Blackgate himself. 2 takeovers for 1 prison in 1 night is absolutely crazy. But before this, Bane's smartass actually figures out that Batman is Bruce Wayne. And while Batman's away dealing with other stuff, he goes and beats the shit out of Alfred, which left me running and rushing to Alfred because he was in trouble.
Alfred, please, God. No! God, don't take Alfred from me! No!
Alfred actually dies here, and you bring him back to life with your shock gloves, doing a little bit of the amphibulator stuff. Then Batman, yes, he runs over to Blackgate to go stop the Joker, kills Bane for a second, then revives him as well to get out of Joker's little plot. Bane overdoses on his little venom, and he forgets everything about Batman being Bruce Wayne. Oddly convenient, which I will say it is nice to actually see why he is so dumb in the future games. He did it to himself. But at the very end, it leads to one final confrontation with Joker and Batman, where Batman tosses him into a window and beats the shit out of him, and leaves him to be with Jim Gordon. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And that's pretty much the gist of it all. I don't really want to dive too deep specifically into the story, but there are a few things I'd like to briefly mention that were nice to see from it. Now, I would say it's a pretty damn good origin story, especially for this version of Batman. We get to see how relationships with certain villains form, allies, even villains before they're villains in this. Like we see Harley Quinn before she's basically manipulated into being wifed up by the Joker. But it is really nice to see all those bridges form between allies and enemies in this beloved series. And we also got to see more of that with the release of Batman Arkham Shadow, which takes place 6 months after this game. It was awesome. Now it's time to get into the gameplay aspect of things, and I really want to start with the combat here. When it comes to the combat in the game, it's pretty much just Arkham City 2. You'll notice a little bit more animations here and there, but honestly nothing crazy, and all the same fundamentals are in place. There are a few new enemy types, which are the brutes and the martial artists, which are very, very fun to go against. The brutes were actually reused in Batman Arkham Knight, and the martial artists were such a pain in the ass that they never implemented them again. And I will say, this isn't such a bad thing just bringing cities combat over, because it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it doesn't really help this game's argument when being compared to the others, because it's just more of the same. There's not a lot of innovation here. Now, for all the good there is with this system, from bouncing to enemy, feeling so much strength in every single one of your punches, there are a little bit of balancing issues in this game specifically. And the ones that come to mind are ones with the shot gloves. Batman gets these gloves from the Electrocutioner, and these act like a replacement for critical hits and also up stun time, and they're absolutely crazy. You can punch anything without getting consequences. That's stun batons, shields, armored enemies, which if that wasn't good enough, because it acts as critical hits as well, there's 2 upgrades in the game which you can get, which will make it so you can do 2 special combo takedowns for every one you earn. And this makes it so you can just spam them. And it is ungodly broken. Like, it is hard to die once you get upgraded enough in this game when it comes to combat. Now, this wouldn't be so bad if the gloves took a long time to charge up, but they pretty much charge after about 15 hits. And it doesn't seem to have any sort of cooldown after you used it the first time either. But yeah, because of these, you start to get no challenge even at the highest difficulties. So the shot gloves are busted, and there's also one other little thing that is a little bit minor. It's not for every version of the game, more specifically just the PC release. This game is kind of a buggy mess on the PC. Like, you kind of just drop combos for no reason here and there. The physics are all sorts of wonky, with enemies flying everywhere, like literally 30 feet in the air, or flickering bosses that make your game crash or something like that. Gone quite a bit better since release, but this is its final form, and it hasn't probably gotten an update in I don't even know how many years, but it is still playable. And when I compare it to the 360 version, these minor gripes are a good trade-off for that better frame rate. So yeah, none are a deal breaker. Some can be pretty funny, and others can be pretty annoying. Now, next thing is going to be the open world. I really wanted to touch on this because it's kind of weird. It takes basically half of Arkham City's open world and meshes it with a new kind of vacant area which has no life whatsoever. Pretty much everywhere you go in this open world will feel the exact same. It's kind of hard to believe it's Christmas Eve in Gotham City because it is so vacant in the streets. Like, no one, absolutely no one can be found other than thugs and police officers. But yeah, the biggest problem here is that you just don't know what district you're in unless you look at the map. There's no distinctions or anything like Two-Face's section, Joker's section, or Penguin's section like there was in Arkham City. It all just looks the same. Now, a nice thing is they did add fast travel this time around, which makes going from mission to mission a lot more tolerable. And they also give us access to the Batcave in this game, which is really cool to see because none of the others do it. It's also cool seeing an early version of this, and they utilize it a lot, especially for it not being in any other game. The coolest thing about it is that it does act as a hub for all your batsuit changing or combat challenges instead of those just normally being locked behind menus. And also in the open world, there's 200 Enigma data packs. These just replace Riddler trophies. And I'll be honest, I've never been one to go out and make sure I collect all of them. I'll normally try a little bit if I see one here and there, but I'm never gonna try to get absolutely all of them. But in this game, if you do collect all of them, you do get to see Enigma's hideout at the end, where you do see a prototype Riddler trophy, and I do think that's pretty cool, because he's not quite the Riddler yet in Origins, but you can tell he's starting to get to that level. And also, there's DLC for this game. The one I really want to touch on is A Cold, Cold Heart, a Mr. Freeze DLC. It's another big strong suit of this game, probably one of the best DLCs the Arkham series has to offer, and this is one I actually didn't get to play until recently, even though I own this game since like 2013. Parents never let me get DLC on the Xbox 360 because I wasn't allowed to hook up a card, so I just never got DLC for any game. So when I bought it on Steam, lo and behold, I have access to it now. The biggest thing here is Mr. Freeze. I'm a big fan of him as a villain, and it's really cool to see his origins in this series, working at a company and overall just kind of getting taken advantage of for trying to help out his wife. The CEO is essentially responsible for his condition, and Mr. Freeze is out for vengeance. And Batman, while understanding, also needs to stop him from killing the CEO. But yeah, if you do plan on playing this game, I will definitely say that a Cold Heart is probably a must play, and I would recommend checking it out. Now, Batman Arkham Origins may be considered the oddball or the weird middle child when it comes to these Arkham games, but it's only kept gaining more and more popularity as time went on. Arkham Shadow is probably also going to really help with this because it takes place right after this game. It's a sequel to Origins. It is an excellent Batman game and an overall good game. It definitely does get outshined by the other 3 in the franchise, but this one is not one to sleep on. And if you want to hear more on this series or just videos on Batman in general, just do let me down in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to visit any of the other games in the franchise. Or even if you want to hear about the short-lived online multiplayer that Arkham Origins had to offer, which I loved, by the way. But yeah, if you did enjoy the video, if you consider leaving a like and maybe subscribing if you like me that much, it does help my small channel grow just that much more. And be sure to let me know if there's any topics or videos you would like me to either touch on or create or just talk about. That's all I got for now, and I'll see you the next time on The Pixel Critic. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell. Oh shit.